Okay, next I'm going to welcome a very good friend of mine who actually wrote Exit Strategy by Jack Lowe Theater Company. You'll know him as Ike Holter. To do a piece. He is going to give us, finally, okay, you can leave here and not need to worry about this issue anymore. He is going to give us the definitive thesis on Donald Sterling. Ike Holter.
Can't play Riley.
What the fuck is a definitive thesis? I'm gonna like perch here.
You want a stool?
I'm fine. Take your brain. I'm gonna tell a little story. Story time. A couple months ago, I was at a bar, boozing, cruising, having a few laughs, bouncing, flouncing, drunk as a water fountain, wishing for a licking and hurting for a squirting. I was having a fun time. And I go to the bathroom and I hold open the door for a nice young gentleman. I cross to the urinal and I start peeing next to a 20-something scumbag whose physical features can only be categorized as Shrekish. The young gentleman who I had held open the door for disappeared into a stall, and as the door of the stall closed, I realized I was a trans male, and to be more specific, female to male identified person, okay? Interesting, I said to myself, and returned to my piss. What the fuck? Grumbled Shrek. Why the fuck does that have to go in here? I zipped up. Well, you know, it's a free country, it is a Thursday night, and I'm at a late night shithole in Humboldt Park. I'm sorry, but I really don't give a flying fuck about anyone but myself right now. I washed my hands, but Shrek continued to stare at the sketches underneath the stall. Weird, Shrek shouted. Weird. I left the bathroom, I grabbed my drink, and I stared off into the night, and I thought to myself, Ike Holter. That was a very tolerant thing you just did right there. You're not a trans person, so you were sticking up for someone else by not saying anything, and you just let it happen. Look at you, so tolerant. Look at you. Look at you with that tolerance. Check it out. For the first time in my life, I felt like a straight white man. And it was addictive. Flash forward. Last week, the world of basketball was rudely interrupted by the sensitive and touchy subject of race when a young gold digger acted exactly like a young gold digger and ratted out a creepy old man with the public display of his creepy old man-ness. Donald Sterling, owner of the Clippers basketball team, apparently didn't want his girlfriend taking pictures, hanging around with, or being seen publicly with terrifying black men such as Magic Johnson. A human being whose very presence is so soft that it is known to make gang members drop their guns and Jews and Palestinians rejoice and start making out on the spot. Magic Johnson. In a devious and undermining act, the girlfriend taped the racist conversations with her boyfriend and sold them to the highest bidder, instantly changing her rank from a basic bitch to a bad bitch. Now it's no surprise that creepy old men are racist. It's no surprise that young gold diggers be shady. And it's no surprise that a team of basketball players composed of 80% black males will fight, 92% black males. 98. It's no surprise that a team composed of 100% black males will fight back in the most juvenile way possible, which was shown when they did a warm-up round, turning their team t-shirts inside out, which is the exact same kind of rebellion that a Little League team would do after finding out they were going to Pizza Hut instead of Chuck E. Cheese. None of this is surprising. The surprising thing is, how good we all feel now. Just a few days ago, everyone was in an uproar. Now we're like, look what we did that for. Sterling was uprooted and suspended. The players did victory tweets. The gold digger struck gold. Everybody goes home happy. But when one racist white man leaves, 8 million take his place. See, that motherfucker has been talking like that for years, talking like that for decades. He hasn't changed. And the only thing those old motherfuckers are learning is that they need to keep it quiet now. They need to only share their secrets with like-minded white men. In the bars, in the cars, in the desert, in the dark, places we can't see. They need to be tolerant. And let's be honest about tolerance here. Tolerance is a nice word for live and let live that actually means, I can't stand that bitch, but I promise not to shoot him when we're in the same room. I am sick to goddamn death of tolerance as a goal, as the end. Tolerance doesn't stop war, tolerance doesn't save people from dying, tolerance owes me 20 bucks and a hand job. Fuck tolerance. We can't accept tolerance, we have to push for acceptance. Which brings me back to that night a few months ago in the bar. I'm not a trans person. I will never in my life be a trans person. So when one jackass said some shit with an earshot of me, I was allowed to brush it off for the first time in my life. I'm a black, gay, 28-year-old male. I was allowed to brush it off. I was allowed to move on without insult. I was allowed to understand the crime, totally, but not take the time to help at all. I was tolerant. A few weeks ago, I was sitting at a bar with some well-meaning frenemies. Now, they know I'm liberal, they know I'm gay, and I'm assuming they know I'm black. They were talking about the sins and the wins of the world, reminiscing on the everyday tragedies we take for granted, carrying on full conversations without looking up from their iPhones. When someone mentioned the weirdness of going to the bathroom next to a trans person, woof. They mentioned the awkwardness, and finally, they spoke of their own uncomfortableness being men and going to the bathroom in another stall with someone who's basically just a really weird woman. All these men were gay. Many different races, aged 23 to about 34, an underserved demographic looking down on a demographic who has never ever been served. Now, I could have said nothing. I could have mumbled my agreement under my breath. I could have played dumb because I really like one of them. I could have looked into their eyes and lied, but I didn't. Instead I said, you guys, all you guys are never ever going to have sex with a trans person. You're never going to hang out with them. You're never going to love them. You're never going to get into political office. You're never going to make life or death decisions about humanity as a whole. None of you people will ever be Spider-Man. The least you can do is be nice. The least you can do. And if you can't do that, congratulate yourself on being an idiot and just be okay with that, because every one of you son of a bitches can go down to the 7-Eleven and eat an entire bag of dicks. That, ladies and gentlemen, was the least I could do.